morning. We are so glad to have you on this call today. And if you're watching the replay, we're so glad that you're watching the replay. But we are going to do a live demo today of our RSP fast tracking tool. We know that school year is getting ready to start up, and we've had a lot of clients interested in this tool because we know the realm of RSPs is changing and growing. And now we've got 612 guidance, and there's just a lot of uncertainty behind it. And we hope today that when we do this demo that you'll be able to see the value in our tool and how it connects to products, especially for current clients that are already utilizing our MAT tools, and how we've tried to expedite this process for you guys when it comes to using our RSP tool. My name is Jessica Gray, and I'm the lead literacy consultant here at Step Up and the developer of the tool itself. This tool really came about a year and a half ago when this first all started, and I was working as a title teacher and working with Shauna and her company with the mats, and we just kind of worked together and collaborated to develop this tool to help us in real time and help our teachers being able to really not just write the plans and check that box, but actually be intentional about instruction. So we're excited to show off the tool today. I've got Sean on the call. We've got a couple other potential clients on the call too. So if you hop on the call or you're on there, please just feel free to drop in the chat any questions you have, and we'll get to them. So we're going to start with the why behind the fast tracking tool. I kind of just touched on that a little bit, but we really want to maximize your teaching and intervention time. We know that to see student growth, we can't really spend all of our time on plans. And we know that that can happen with these. They're a little overwhelming, and trying to make sure that we have all the pieces and components for compliance that are on there. And so the idea behind this is to help fast track that piece and make sure that your teachers and your interventionists have plenty of time to actually address those reading concerns and maximize their teaching time. We want to have that consistency. When this first rolled out, we noticed a lot of inconsistency with how goals were written, if teachers were writing them, depending on teacher, because that can vary from teacher to teacher. So we created a goal bank to help with consistency and language for parents, interventionists, and teachers across the board. There's resources for all your teachers. So we know that as they're moving and progressing through grade levels, the intention is that you keep them on RSPs if they are not on grade level by the time they reach 5th grade. So we wanted that resource for all your teachers, even your teachers that haven't taught foundational reading skills. This is a resource that they can utilize also to know exactly how to help their students best learn to read. And then easy communication for stakeholders. We're going to show you just some ideas of ways you can organize, but just keeping it in a spot where anybody that needs access can have that easily instead of trying to dig, hunt, and find for plans. So what the RSP can't do, we like to start with this too, just so that you have that idea. It cannot read your assessment data. This is not a tool where you can input all the data you have on a student and outputs a plan. This is really teacher intentional focus. You're going to have to do some of that manpower. It doesn't have those assessments. This is really just a housing place for all that information. It can't determine who needs that RSP. We know that teachers are going to have to do that by looking at that data from those foundational reading assessments and those other pieces you're giving them. And it can't replace your student knowledge. We know that we're the experts and that we know what's best for students. And so this is really just a place to help expedite that and give you the tools necessary to be able to help your students when it comes to intervention. So what the tool can do, though, is it's going to really bring a focus on your Missouri priority standards and those 5 pillars of reading. I'm going to show you here in a minute how we've made those connections. It's going to empower your teachers with the ability to provide some high quality reading instruction at their student level. So we know that the student can fall in that reading continuum anywhere at any point. And it's really going to help your teachers, regardless of their background, be able to really pinpoint exactly what they need and the intervention that's going to be right for that student. It's going to bring clarity and continuity among your staff and stakeholders, and it's really going to help you take some of that guesswork out of writing really strong quality RSP goals that we've kind of struggled with. Before we jump into the demo and I actually show you the tool and we kind of walk through it, I just wanted to give you some ideas, some of the updates that we have made over the last couple months and the last year. But some of those updates are just a more streamlined layout. Some of our clients that have purchased this, they already had a template they were using and they just were using our goal bank. But just know that we have streamlined that template to make it easy to read. And we've really tried to customize it and work with clients to help it make it work for them in their district. There's customizable drop downs to make some of that process a little bit easier and easier to read. We've got color coding to help navigate and know where to put what when it comes to those plans when you're copying and pasting. And then we've got some fill in the blank specifics to help create that specific reading goal for your students, and lots of places for data. In our printer friendly version, you can really, depending on the amount that's in there, get it down to 2 pages, which we love, especially if it's front and back. We know that when these were first coming out, they were pages and pages long. So being able to reduce the amount that we have to print and give to students and parents just helps with that organization piece and keeping track. Some other things you get when you purchase along with the tool is you're going to get training sessions from me. We'll schedule a training session. I can help you and your interventionist really set up and implement any questions that you have with your new tool. You'll be a part of our virtual cohort, which is a really great added bonus. We meet 4 to 5 times a year and just make sure we're meeting deadlines, and we kind of go through instruction, and I give you resources and things at each one to help your teachers as they navigate this RSP system. And then there's guided support videos also. So there's lots of support videos, not just for instruction, but utilizing the tool and anything that your staff might need to help support them in their RSP work. All right, well, we're gonna jump into the demo because I know that there's gonna be questions, but I would love, just gonna pull that up. If you've got questions now, feel free to ask. Look, I've got way too many tabs up. This is the story of my day. Here we go. So this is just an example of what we could share. And I also have this set up as a sample district on how you could share, but when you get your district folder, if you purchase the RSP tool, you're going to get these 3 documents down here, and you're going to get a folder that says resources. If you don't already have a good way to organize, we always recommend going by the graduating class and placing your students within folders like this, because you're not having to change them every year. That way you're not having to move them from grade level to grade level. The class stays the same. And it's really easy too when they make that navigation switch from 5th to 6th grade to be able to keep it organized in this way. And we can go through too, when we have our training sessions, different ways that people have organized it. So within those folders, they've done kindergarten, but sometimes they just have all their students within one section. So just know that those are possibilities, but let's jump in. Probably, I would say the favorite, Shauna can attest to this, I would say probably the favorite piece is our core data sheet. So what we have done is we have organized a sheet to be able to organize what students have in RSP, and then all of the things that have to be selected when you report to core data. We put that all in one spot for you so that whoever it is, because usually it's a secretary or your core data reporting person, they're the people that aren't really working with students, but they have to know all this information. And it's reported in February and in June. So we've designated those reporting cycle sections so that they know that. And then in the dropdown, we've just filled in all of the things that the state has given on their guidance document on what has to be reported. And we put all of those criteria there so that your interventionist or whoever's in charge of putting this information in, you can get all of that information in one spot for them. And it's really nice and easy to keep track of. We've had lots of districts now going into year 2 using our tool, and I just worked with the client that we just duplicated this sheet and then they just changed the names. So they were really excited about, we just have to add our new people. We already have a lot of this ready to go. So it's just nice to be able to have everything in one spot. And we've got sections all the way through 6th grade. We know that 6 through 12 is getting ready to start, so we can add those for you if you've got more, but this is a really easy add and a really easy way to keep all of your data consistent when it comes to reporting for your core data reporting. So is there anything else you want to add to this piece? I feel like I covered all of that there. We added that
No,
dyslexic component too, but this was a big piece for people. They enjoyed utilizing this part.
yeah. Unless Carrie, do you have any questions from a user standpoint? Okay, I think we're good. I just think most of our
Yeah.
clients, okay, she said it looks good. Most of our
Yep.
clients just like the ease because usually a teacher's collecting it and then they have to pass it to someone else. And I really like how we're trying to make that clean.
Yeah. Um, Another change that we did this year is we actually made there's a template page and then there's our page with all of our goals. We had a lot of people separating those out because it was a little overwhelming for teachers with all the tabs. So we went ahead and just did that for you when we made some of our revisions. So I'm going to go through our RSP goal bank sheet. And it's going to start with our vertical progressions. We've got this great stair step here that Shauna created for our mat tool books, but it really pays homage to where that the we're so into the science of reading right now. We know how important it is that we're doing those things, but that's really the how we're teaching it, right? Making sure that we know how we're teaching students best, explicit instruction, all of those things, making sure we're following those reading developments. And those things live within our standards. And so I love that this document really pays, and this image pays homage to that, where you can see, hey, I've got a student really struggling with vocabulary comprehension. We need to start down low. Here's where I can look standard strand wise on some standards they're probably really struggling with. And then it moves on to print awareness, that orthography piece. That is not technically a qualifier for RSPs, but we know how important print awareness is to the foundations of our kinders and our pre-K students. So just knowing that this graphics here, this has been a great piece for teachers to be able to come and say, hey, gosh, iReady is telling me that we're struggling with phonics, but when I give them some other types of assessments, whether it be letters or we give them the past or a Haggerty assessment, gosh, they're really struggling with phonemic awareness. Well, now we know those live in the standards. We can go back through and really give teachers a roadmap. All of these here kind of go along with that. So you've got your sections, and then here's the standard strands. And when you click on these for decoding, it's going to pull up our vertical progressions, which is really great for teachers to be able to find present level, being able to understand, hey, I have a second grade student who's testing first grade, maybe even kindergarten, but I need to know what they can do. And this is going to give your teachers a roadmap. Well, can they decode words in context? Are they able to identify letters of short and long vowels? Well, maybe they can do this, but they're not producing consonant blends. And it's just going to be able to give your teachers a really great, strong item analysis of knowing, hey, gosh, I need to make sure my assessments are showing that they can do these things, but also where are they living? And I can start there and move my intervention forward and really help focus on goals. So once your teachers kind of go through that process, if they say, hey, all right, I'm going to put my student, we really need to start with consonant blends. They kind of have all this starting to get mastered, but we're really struggling with blends and digraphs. So then they may come to, all right, I'm going to go to the phonics strand and find that. So this is the great thing about our goal bank, is that it connects to the standards. So they can find where that standard lives. That was a first grade standard. Here's this consonant blends. So we found this standard and we've written goal banks. We've already written a goal, a sample goal for those. Do you have to use those? No. Are they editable? Absolutely. You can click in here on your version and edit those any way you choose. But we just found that really takes the pressure off of teachers trying to figure out, how do we word this? What's this supposed to look like? And making sure they're really intentional with the goals they're setting for students to reach that mastery of the standard and mastery of those reading things that they're struggling with. If it's a priority standard, one great thing is our goals are also linked to student skills, which is just going to give, now it's not one to pull it up, there we go, which is just going to give teachers a good checklist of, hey, can they do these things when they're working with them in intervention? These have been really game changing for a lot of teachers because they're able to really look at this and give some feedback in real time, like, hey, you're doing this, this, and this during small group. I love this. You were able to show me you have mastered this on assessment. And then next to that is also an intervention plan. So they can copy and paste this. I'll show you that when I pull up the template here in a minute, but they can copy and paste the matching intervention plan, which is just giving them that idea of, hey, we're going to use manipulatives and visuals. Things are going to be grounded in the science of reading, but they're not having to come up with that on their own. They can just copy and paste this into their intervention plan. Then when they click on the intervention, It's linked to our teacher map tools, which down in our level 3 and our level 2, it's going to give teachers assessment items. It's going to give things they can do with students during small group to build that up. It's going to give anchor charts for teachers to be able to say, hey, this is going to be a great way to introduce this skill. Gosh, they're really struggling with this. What are some things we can do? This added piece is really a game changer for your upper elementary teachers who maybe don't have foundational skills that they're used to teaching. It's been a long time, right? You're really, when we move to 3rd and 4th grade, we're teaching students, they're learning from reading. And so it's not learning to read. And so they're not used to some of these foundational pieces that they have to help implement with their students. And so these are all listed there for them, which I think is great. It just is another great added bonus that they're not having to dig, hunt, and find for resources. It's all right here in their document, and they can pull that up on their plan. At the bottom, we have got our vertical progressions, our skill progressions, but then we've got orthography as a section. No orthography. I've had that question. Orthography is not a qualifying area, but we have found, gosh, print awareness falls in a lot of those orthography sections, and your kindergarten students should be able to identify upper and lowercase letters. If they can't, they're probably struggling with reading. So we wanted to pay homage to that there are a lot of things that and options for teachers to be able to really customize their RSP to fit the needs of their student. We've got phonemic awareness, phonics, vocab, comprehension. Currently, all of our goals, we've written them through 5th grade because those are your foundational pieces. We're working and looking into adding some of those upper grades now that we see that transition into 6-12. So those will be something coming in addition to. We're really trying to make sure that we are doing what's best for kids, but we know that if you've got a struggling 6th grader, they're probably struggling with some of their K-5 standard goals, which are a lot of those foundational pieces. So working through that. And then we've also got fluency and then syntax. So a lot of that grammar piece and writing, especially as they get into the older grades, some of their struggles are probably going to come from some of those vocabulary and syntax structures of language.
Hey,
And also,
Jess, you had a
yeah,
question. Sorry.
sure.
She said she loved the resource connections. If they purchase the tool and additional materials added, do you send those to us with the original contract?
So do I'll let you answer, Shauna.
Well, I think I need clarity. Which
If you
resource?
buy if you buy the tool and you are a current client, so if you are a current digital user of ours,
It just
it is yeah, it comes with it. If you are not a current digital user, your cost is a little bit more, but you do get these resources within. Your cost is just higher than if you were a current digital user. So if you are somebody, a district that already has our MAT tools digitally, it's just an added cost to get these templates and get it in this organization. But your cost will be a little bit more if you're not a digital user, which is fine. But yes, when you purchase the tool, it comes with these here. I think that's what you're asking, Carrie. I'm really sorry if that didn't answer your question, but it does come with this when you buy the tool.
just to clarify, you can buy the tool in 2 different ways. You can buy a linked or an unlinked. And then she said if you add the older grades to it.
Mhm. Oh, I see what you're saying. We will, yes, if you bought the tool and we add those in, we put those in for you.
Yeah.
Yes. The updates we make, we just give it to the clients that have purchased the tool. That's a great question.
Because it is a work in progress, you guys. I want to
Yeah.
give Jess huge kudos. But that is the beauty of a digital product. And, this has been the whole RSP thing has been a learning curve for everyone. So Jessica has been fabulous. Or even user things because it's a new tool. So as we find things out or we update, it's part of this call is she's showing you what she's updated. Then typically with year 1 users, if we'll add those things for free and keep refining it. It's just the beauty of the digital tool, unlike the hard copy
Yeah.
stuff.
I'll show you the template next. And then if there's any more questions, Carrie, or there's anything you want to see specifically, we can really hone in on that. But the next piece that you'll receive is this template. And the template is editable. We have an example template that I'm just going to zoom out and show. everybody, but it's got all the sections that you're supposed to have. We really tried to get in there and follow the example the state gave, but just clean it up a little bit and make it look just a little nicer and more user friendly. So we went through and added all of these pieces here. You've got check boxes for those pieces that students need. I can't take full credit for this because we've had a lot of clients help us really shape what this is supposed to look like to help work for them. So then you've got your next section, which is your intervention plan. You're able to select all of those things for students. Um, it's important to note too that this is all customizable, so you can delete any section. We've had a lot of people ask for, hey, we want to add this fluency piece. Like, how often are we meeting with them? What's the duration? Who's meeting with them? But these pieces can all be taken out also. So if there's something on here you see like, hey, that's not necessarily a requirement to have on our plan, we want to take that out. I will work with you as a client of this when you purchase the tool to really make sure that the template your staff is using fits for you before you push it out. But there are sections to input all your data and those growth. This is a growth target that some people were really looking for because I'm sure STAR does, but I know iReady does a great job of giving us stretch growth and actual growth goals. And so just keeping track of that, how the students are progressing throughout the year. And then we've got that spot to be able to add your goals, your growth targets or your goals, whichever language you want to use. But I'll show you here too. This is where the copy paste comes in nice. So once your teachers know, hey, I've got the student that really needs to be focusing on, let's go back to phonics. We really need to be focusing on consonant blends and digraphs. I'm going to grab this, and we're going to copy, and you can copy both at the same time, which I think is so great. We've really worked on making sure that works out, and then you can paste it in there. And there they are. It's just a one step, one process for your teachers to be able to have to copy and paste to get those in there. And then we can select that it's a phonics area of focus and go through from there. So it just makes it really nice for your teachers to make that quick and easy and painless. If your teachers are doing it or your interventionist, whoever's in charge of writing the goals, it just helps make that process go a little quicker. The next section down we've added is just a little spot for your parents. It's just a little identifier of, hey, this is a reading success plan. It's going to report their progress throughout the year. And then different things in there. We've had people change this. This is just kind of a generic overarching section, but it's just kind of nice to have that in there. So you're not having to have a separate document for parents to sign. So they can just sign right on this document. We've got drop downs for communication. This is all customizable. Anytime you see a drop down, you're going to be able to customize the options there. But again, just making that ease of this was a phone call. We sent home decodable readers for them, and the area of focus was phonics. Just keeping track of all of that data piece that you're supposed to keep track of as a requirement. And then our next piece is that progress monitoring section. So they're able to copy and paste the goal they just pasted above down here. And then there's spots for them to talk about what their targeted intervention was, their progress notes, and then any scores that they may be keeping throughout those weeks of targeted intervention and whether or not the goal was met. And then being able to make that determination, hey, did they have we mastered this? Are we ready to move to the next goal? Just so that they're not constantly having to update the document. We're able to really hone in on what interventions are working, what's not working. And once they've met or exceeded a standard, hey, we're going to move on to the next one and really push them through all of those things that they need to be doing to grow as a reader. So, all right. I'm gonna stop here. I talked fast. Carrie, is there anything in particular you want to see? That was just an example template. You get a blank template that you're able to work through on that also. My dog's working.
She said, is there a link with star cutoff scores by chance?
I know that somewhere, let's look at my resource folder. The vendors don't share that information with us, but we have had clients in the past that utilize that give that give that information. And so if you're utilizing STAR, we can always add that in. If that makes sense, like you can help me go through and know, hey, we want to add what the cut scores are so that it's right here on the document. We can always add that into your template. But that's a great question.
That sounds good.
Okay. I'll show you the last piece that you get to that I really like, but you're going to get a folder of resources that can and can't be used, but there's a 30-day checklist here. These are just sample things that you could send home to parents that we've created. So this is just a Fluency Talk flyer. We know that we have to be in communication with parents and sending things home. These are just easy to print, ready to go items that you can send and share with parents that of things that they can do at home for these certain areas of reading. There is a small group template that we came up with. There's an example, and then there's also a copy. And it just is really trying to help teachers know what are the components I'm supposed to be doing during a small group and just kind of helping them hone in on what's important. What should I be doing with students? What should that look like? How should I be structuring that for my RSPs? And so it's not wanting to load, but there's a blank template there. And then there's also a sample for teachers so that they have that example. And then we've created RSP 101 videos. We've got the first two sections done. And this year is our step 3 and 4. We're really going to be focusing on progress monitoring and instruction. So you will get those also as we get those developed and sent out. But those are going to be kind of the focus of our cohorts this year is this step 3 and step 4. So those will come this year, but these videos are already ready to watch and view. So your teachers or your interventionist can click on those and watch them as needed. And then there's just a document of our step-by-step process of writing standards-based RSPs. So that's in there too for you. Lots of resources. Something we added too is a high frequency word list. We've had lots of people ask about, do we have anything for that? And so we just kind of developed a list of the most frequent high frequency words that we see based on grade level. So those are in there for your teachers as well.
Awesome. Yep. She just said sometimes they change their dates year to year, so it can be tricky.
Yes. I think we keep track or try to help you keep track of those deadlines. And I can look it up, but they put it in the guidance document. I don't want to say the wrong one out loud, but I think it's like the 15th is the first 30-day check-in October. Maybe it's 17th. I can look it up and send it to you, Carrie. But and and the cut scores also change too, I know from time to time. So we'll make sure that we find those updated ones and we can help you import that into your documents. That is it for me. Carrie, unless you've got any other questions or want to see anything else. If you're watching this replay, please feel free to reach out to me at jessicag@stepupconsultingservices.com. I'm always happy to set up one-on-ones if anybody wants to take a closer look at something, or if you've purchased the tool and you've got questions, you should have my contact info, but always feel free to reach out. We're here to help navigate through some of those crazy things that are happening, and we know that it's getting ready to start. School's getting ready to start and be real. So just make sure you keep us in the loop on what you need, and we'll do what we can to help.